Merry Christmas again, everybody. One more thing I want to add to what Michelle said besides her basically begging for people to come to wrap on the 12th, which again, we need that. St. Paul's will also be coming to do that as well. Besides that, Christmas Eve is coming up. That is on December 24th, Christmas Eve. And we are doing one service currently at 4:30. But for this service, we need you to register. So if you're planning on coming to this service at 4:30, you can register. You can go to impactchurchmd.com/Christmas Eve. You can register there. So please do that there if you're planning on coming. We have only a certain amount of spots available, and right now we're about halfway full. So if you have not registered yet, please do so we have an idea. We can only have so many people because of capacity and mainly because of social distancing. We need to be able to keep you guys enough distance apart. So make sure you register for that. You can do that at impactchurchmd.com/Christmas Eve, or if you're here, you can just go to the iPad in the back and do that as well. And if you have a friend you're planning on bringing, you can register them as well. So you can just do it for them. You don't have to ask them to do that. So please do that if you're planning on coming, just so we can get an idea on that. So my opening question, I normally start with a question. Here's my question today. Is it weird that a 35-year-old still plays video games? Okay. Because here's why I ask, okay? I'm 35 years old. I know, I don't look a day over 34, but I'm 35 years old. A lot of gray hair, I get it. And I still play video games, and I think back to when I was growing up, and my dad was 35, and I'm thinking of the fact of whether my dad ever played video games, and the thought of him playing a video game when I was a kid is crazy to me, because he was working and fixing things and paying bills. He was being an adult. And here I am at 35 years old, when the kids go to bed, and when my wife goes to bed a half hour later, then I go downstairs like a child and play video games, and I don't plan on, every year for Christmas, I ask for more video games so I can play. It's the only time I get them now. So it's just, I don't know if that's if that's weird that I'm this old, I don't know. But thinking of my dad doing that just seems crazy to me, but yet here I am the same age doing that. The last video game system I bought was the Nintendo Switch. Any of you guys have the Nintendo Switch? Some of you, okay. Does anybody have no idea what I'm talking about when I say Nintendo Switch? Okay, some of you, okay. It's Nintendo, but it's the Nintendo Switch. Okay, so yeah, you guys got it? So it's the newest Nintendo. Now, I grew up with Nintendo for a long time. I used to play it all the time. Some of my earliest memories of playing video games is me in my room playing Mario 64 or Zelda Ocarina of Time, Zelda Majora's Mask. Some of you think I'm speaking another language, but others of you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So that was some of my earliest memories. So Nintendo Switch was announced. It was 3 years ago, I think it came out. I was like, I'm not going to get that. I'm getting older now. I don't need it. And then all of a sudden they announced two games that I really wanted. They announced a Mario game and a new Zelda game. Both those games were my childhood. So I was like, I have to get this system now. So for Christmas, my one uncle, who's my godfather, gave me $100. I was like, that's enough. I'm going to go buy the Nintendo Switch. So after Christmas, again, this is Christmas time, so I spent a ton of money on presents already for my kids and my family. After Christmas, I had $100. I checked with Erica first, okay? Husbands, fiancés, whatever. I checked with my wife first. She gave me the okay. I didn't specify the amount, but she didn't ask, so it's her fault. So I got $100, so I went and bought the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch was $300. Then I bought the two games I really wanted, which is $60 each. It's $120. You do that math really quick. That's $420 I spent in one purchase right after Christmas because my uncle gave me $100. That's why I did that. $420, even though because my uncle gave me $100. And I loved it. I got it. The second I got it, I was playing it all the time. Anytime Eric was like, I'm tired, I might go to bed. It's like, yeah, go ahead, go to bed. And then I would play up really late, just like I used to back in the day. And I played Mario first, and I played it until I beat it. Once I beat it, then I moved to Zelda, and I played it until I beat it. And 4 months later, I have played these games. I had completely beaten these games. I was like, all right, I'm going to take a break from this. And that was 3 years ago, and I have not touched my Nintendo Switch since. That was the last time. So let me ask you a question. I spent $420 to play a video game system and two games for 3 months of my time, and I haven't touched it in 3 years. Would you consider that a wise purchase on my part? No. No way. Maybe if I kept playing it, it would be a wise purchase, but the fact that I have not touched that thing in 3 years, it was not a good purchase for me. But the reason why I bought it, and the reason why I really wanted to have it, the reason why I was willing to spend extra money to do it, besides the fact that my wife gave me the okay, the reason why I did that is because I believed and bought the lie. The lie that is constantly sold to us, the lie that is constantly told to us, the lie that a lot of us don't even know it's there anymore, but it's just deep down inside of us, and the lie that America has made the Christmas season all about. Here is the lie that a lot of us have bought into, and this is the lie I bought into. What you don't have is what you need to have peace. That thing that you're missing, once you finally get that, then you will finally have peace in life. You want peace in life? You need that thing. Whatever that thing is. What you don't have, that's what you need. It's that new car. You don't have the new car, but once you get it, you will be good. You will have peace. It's that new house. It's that new clothes. It's the new phone that just came out. Once you have that, you will have peace. That's a lie our culture tells us. Once you have that, you'll have peace. And guess what? I can sell this to you for 5 easy payments at $29.99 a month. Like that's the lie that a lot of us believe. What you don't have is what you need to have peace. So many of us buy more than we can afford because we are searching for peace and happiness in life. And we have bought the lie that this stuff will be the answer and the key to our peace in life. Once we have it, then we will finally have peace. And then we buy that stuff, and over time, and eventually we feel good, but then over time we need more peace, and we're like, maybe it's just that the wrong stuff. Maybe I need more stuff. Maybe I just need to keep buying this stuff, and then I will have peace. For many of us, a lack of stuff is a peace robber. And throughout this series, we've been looking at this verse, Luke chapter 2, verse 14. The angel said this to the shepherds when they were announcing the birth of Jesus. They said, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace. On earth peace, goodwill toward men." The angels were announcing to the shepherd that peace is finally here because the Messiah has come. But we look at our world and we look at our time, we look at ourselves and think, I don't feel peace. And the reason why is because there will never be peace on earth until there's peace in you. That's what this whole series is about. How do we find peace in ourselves so that we can help the world who desperately needs it to have peace? And if we want peace inside of us, we must not let a lack of stuff rob us of our peace. Now, a lot of times when I prepare a sermon, there's things that like convict me while I'm doing it, but there's things I talk about that I'm like, I feel pretty confident in this, I feel pretty good in this, but for everyone else, this is really going to hit home. This is one of the first sermons in a long time that I wrote, and I was like, everyone that's listening is better at this than me. I am the worst at this. I am the worst at not allowing lack, because I love stuff. Stuff is awesome. I always have some of the newest stuff. For Christmas, I ask for a lot of stuff, and I get a lot of stuff. I can't wait to have all that stuff. This is probably worse for me than it is for anybody else. I love stuff. It is hard to prepare a sermon like this knowing that I have to talk to you about something that I am worse at. So everything I'm going to say to you today, I have practiced this week, and I have made changes in my own personal life. So don't feel convicted about anything I say because I have had to work on this as well, too. And there's a verse that really shook me this week, and it's going to be the main verse we talk about today. And I'm going to say this verse like 100 times in this sermon, and I want to encourage you this week to memorize this verse, because this verse is a game changer, especially if you're like me and you struggle with the idea that we need more stuff. Here's the verse, Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 6. Better one handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. So I used to be a youth pastor. I'm going to make everyone repeat it. If you're at home, you also need to repeat it at your house. I won't know, but I will know. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 6. Everyone repeat it with me. Ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Better one handful with tranquility, toil and chasing after the wind. Better is one handful with tranquility. That's peace. That's calm. That's quiet. That's contentment. Better is one handful with just less stuff, but you have peace, than 2 handfuls, which is more stuff, but you are chasing after the wind. There's toil. There's constantly bickering, fighting, worry, stress, discontent, dissatisfied. Better is one handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. I've talked about this place before, but there's a pie place called Dangerously Delicious Pies in Baltimore City. They're making a new one somewhere else. And around here in Sykesville, there's like little shops that have some Dangerously Delicious pies. Best pies I've ever had. My wife and I went on a date not that long ago, maybe it was summer, down to Canton, where Dangerously Delicious is, and we went to, what's the Mexican place? Nacho Nacho Mama's, Mexican place, great Mexican place. We ate way too much there. But I was next to Dangerously Delicious Pies. It's my favorite pie place, and I go there and I get the Baltimore Bomb Pie, which if you don't know what that is, I've talked about it before, but if you don't know what that is, it's made up of burger cookies, so it's probably 5,000 calories, one slice. But it's the best pie you'll ever have, okay? So, of course, I bought it, and then we went back to my sister-in-law's house, living down the street, and I was so full already from dinner, but I just got this pie, and I ate every single bite of that pie. Every little bite, you name it, I ate it. And I felt so sick all day. I had to throw up later. Like, it was terrible. Because sometimes having too much is not good. Better is one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. I actually saw an illustration from Craig Rochelle, a famous pastor, that showed this way. Better is one handful, just one handful with tranquility, with peace. It's not a whole lot of stuff, but man, you are content with your stuff. Then two handfuls constantly chasing after wind, toil. Better is one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. See, there's nothing wrong with having stuff. You will have stuff. You should enjoy stuff. Stuff is there for our enjoyment, but when your life becomes about stuff, you don't own that stuff anymore. Stuff owns you. Better is one handful of tranquility than two handfuls of toil and chasing after the wind. Your life is too valuable. Your calling is too great. And your purpose is too mighty to waste your life on stuff. Better is one handful of tranquility than two handfuls of toil and chasing after the wind. Let me say it to you another way. Here's our bottom line today. Here's another way to say it. Have more of what does matter and less of what doesn't. We should have more of what does matter and less of what doesn't. What good is more stuff if you have less peace? What good is more money if you have less generosity? What good is more possessions if you have less freedom? We should have more of what does matter as in peace in our life than less of what doesn't. Constantly toil, chasing after the wind. More. I need more stuff. Better one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. So how do we do that? How do we have more of what does matter and less of what does? I'm going to give you very quickly, very easy, 3 easy steps that I want you to start applying this week. During this Christmas season, I want you to start applying it. It's very easy, and I had to start applying it this week. Number 1, how do we have more of what does matter and less of what doesn't? Number 1, we're going to throw out. We start throwing some things out. Throw some things away. Give some things away. Sell some things. Throw out. I never realized how much crap I had in my house until I moved. We went to go move, packed all the stuff up, and I was like, man, we have a lot of crap in here. And I keep saying the word crap because that's what it was. Crap. We didn't need it. It was worthless. Let me tell you some of the things that we found out we had a lot of, okay? So we packed all this stuff up. I had 7 suits. I don't wear any of them. I have 7 of them. Most of them don't even fit. They're like really baggy. They're terrible looking, but I have 7 of them. Why? I don't know. In fact, for my last birthday, I just bought 2 because all the 7 I had were not good. They were really baggy. I didn't like them. I had 7 suits that I moved from one house to the other. We had boxes of just stuffed animals, not toys, just stuffed animals. Boxes, not 1, not 2, more, and then we just took those boxes directly to Goodwill. We didn't even tell the kids. They were going directly to Goodwill. We have more than 1 box of frames, not pictures in the frames. We have multiple boxes of just frames without any picture in them. Why do we have so many frames in our house? We don't have enough wall space to put all those frames up, but we have boxes. If anyone needs frames, come to my house. We have a yard sale just of frames at our house. And then don't even get me started on the amount of toys we have. Oh my goodness, I think we own every single Barbie that's ever existed in the world. We have so much stuff. And you know what we need to do? Throw out. We started getting rid of stuff. You know what? We don't need this anymore. It's gone. We're getting rid of it. We're giving it away. We're taking it somewhere that needs it or just putting it in the trash. I'm not talking about just decluttering, which a lot of us need to do. I'm talking about de-owning. You do not own this anymore. It is gone. Give it to someone else. Gone forever. You're done with it. There's a story in Matthew of Jesus meeting a rich young ruler, and here's what happens in Matthew chapter 19. It says, just then a man came up to Jesus and asked, Teacher, what good thing must I do to get eternal life? Why do you ask me about what is good? Jesus replied, there is only one who is good. If you want eternal life, keep the commandments. Which ones? He inquired. Jesus replied, you shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not give false testimony, honor your father and mother, and love your neighbor as yourself. All these I've kept, the young man said. What do I still lack? Jesus answered, knowing who this person was, knowing what he probably struggled with. Here's how Jesus answered. If you want to be perfect, go and sell your possessions and give it to the poor, and you will have treasures in heaven. Then come follow me. When the young man heard that, he went away sad because he had great wealth. Some of you, when I say throw out, you're already going, no, I can't though, because this stuff's important to me. I can't do that. I can't start throwing things out. I need all these shirts. No, I need all this stuff that I have now. I can't start doing that. If you feel like a lack of stuff is preventing you from having peace, I would tell you the opposite. Actually, the more stuff that you have is creating a lack of peace in you. See, if you're living life like this, constantly, one after the other, two handsfuls, the only way for you to have more of what does matter is to stop going after everything. One handful, tranquility is better than two, toil, chasing after wind. Throw some stuff away. Give it away. Sell it. Put it in the trash. You don't need all the stuff that you have. When I say this, there's probably two things that come up that's reasons why you can't do it. The first one is fear. What if I need it? See, I need to keep this because what if down the line I need this? What if something happens? I might need this. You never know when I'm going to need this extra sheets that have stains on them. You never know when I'm going to need that, okay? I need to keep those. You don't know what I need. You never know I'm going to need this piece of technology that was outdated 20 years ago. I just need to keep it in this drawer of all old tech stuff that I haven't touched in 20 years, but I need to keep it because you never know when you're going to need this piece of equipment. You never know. See, sometimes we're so afraid because what if we need it? This isn't just with stuff either. This is with our actual money. We're so afraid that we might need this money one day, so we got to keep saving it and saving it and saving it and doing more and more. Now, let me tell you something. You should have a savings account. You should have a retirement plan. Those are all good things. You should budget appropriately so that you can build a savings account. You can build a retirement plan. You can save for your kids' weddings, for your kids' college. You should be doing that. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, you should be doing that. But if your saving prevents you from giving, you have a spiritual issue called greed in your life. It's what it is. It's greed. If you are too busy saving, you can't give any of it away, it's because of greed. When you give stuff away, whether it's physical stuff or some of your own money, in a real way, you are telling and proving to God that you trust him in a very real way. You're trusting that God will provide for you in the future while you bless somebody today. And the opposite's true. When you refuse to give and throw out your stuff because of fear of needing it, what if I need this? I need to keep saving. I need to keep this forever. When you refuse to do it, you are telling and you are proving to God that you do not trust him, that he is not going to show up for you in the future, that you do not trust that God will provide for you in the future, so you need to throw some stuff out. What's another reason that we have trouble doing that? Another reason besides fear is sentimental value. This is important to me. There's sentimental value to this. I remember having this as a kid. This is stuff from my college. This is stuff from my first year of marriage. This is stuff from when my kids were young. This is stuff from my grandkids. I can't throw this out. I have to keep this. My kids are going to want this one day. I need to keep this forever. I need to keep it. It's my stuff. When Eric and I got married, we brought all of our single stuff to our marriage. And I was a college dude who lived with three other guys before I lived there. So my decor wasn't like that great, right? But one thing I kept buying that I thought was really cool, I don't know if it was or not, but I thought it was, I would buy movie posters and frame them and put them all over our walls. So some of you, I think Frank and Michelle were around then, they saw some of those movie posters. And I had some like really important ones, like Pee-wee's Big Adventure was framed up on my wall and stuff like that. Like I had some important ones. So we get married, I take all those posters down, and they're my posters. I'm so excited about it. I'm like, Erica, where are we gonna hang these up? She's like, when we get a basement, we're in a one-bedroom condo. When you get a basement, you can put them up then. Say, okay, cool. I'll just save them over here then, Erica. I'll put them over here. When we get that basement, I'll do it. And then we moved to a new house, and we got a basement. And I was like, oh, where am I gonna put this stuff up? I was like, we're gonna let a friend live down there. So, okay, cool. And then that friend moved out and said, okay, well, am I gonna put this stuff up now? I was like, no, that's the kids' room now. Please don't put that stuff up. So forever, I was keeping these posters behind our washing machine, ready to go to put up, because one day I'm going to get that movie room. And then our washing machine broke and flooded everywhere. And guess what got ruined? All of my posters. So I had a funeral for my Pee-wee's Big Adventure poster, my Dark Knight Rises poster, whatever I had, took them to the trash, threw them away. Years later, I don't miss them. I didn't think about them until I prepared this sermon. It was a sentimental thing. I thought one day I was going to give it to my kids for some reason, like they were going to want that. I couldn't wait to hang those up. They got ruined, I threw them out, haven't thought about them since. For a lot of us, we have this sentimental stuff, and there's nothing wrong with having sentimental stuff. There's nothing wrong with passing things down. There's nothing wrong with keeping some of that stuff. But you should appreciate the memory that that stuff brings you, appreciate the purpose that it gave you, but understand that it might not any longer be fulfilling the purpose that it once had in your life, so you no longer need it. Appreciate what it did for you, give it away. Throw it out. So first, we have to throw some things out. On the other side of our stuff is freedom. Have more of what does matter and less of what doesn't. Better is one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. Number one, throw out. Number two, buy less. Buy less. All of us can buy less. All of us can do it. In 2015, TNS Global did a study that determined that 62% of people purchase stuff in order to cheer themselves up. They're having a bad day, so they go buy something because of it. And 28% of people purchase as a form of celebration. I read about this in an article that was encouraging people to go buy stuff. I was like, I think you're missing the point of this study. I think this study is actually kind of depressing, that 62% of people buy stuff just to cheer themselves up. But man, there is something awesome about buying something new, right? There's something awesome about buying that stuff. I'm a big vinyl guy. I get giddy when a vinyl shows up at my house, like, ooh, like a little kid. I can't wait to open it and look at it. I love buying vinyls, and there's a website called discogs.com that I have my want list and my collection on there, so I get to save that. And the bad part about that is it emails you every day of what's available on your want list, and it's all available for a certain price. So every day I look at it like, oh, I could buy that right now. But I've gotten a little better about it. But man, I love getting new vinyls. When my wife got her new phone, she got the iPhone 11. I had an iPhone 8, which is like having the oldest phone ever, right? So I was like, I can't possibly use this anymore. If you had the iPhone 11, I have to get the new one. So I went and bought the iPhone 12. My iPhone 8 worked perfectly, but I couldn't wait to buy an iPhone 12, and I love it. So I get it. It's easy to buy more and more and more stuff. I'm not saying don't buy things. I'm not saying don't buy fun things. In fact, with our Angel Tree program, Michelle's talked about it. If you got your paper, you saw it. We encourage you to buy necessities and fun things, because we understand there's a value in having fun things. We want these kids to have clothes and stuff that they need, and we also want them to have toys and be able to have fun and enjoy things. We understand there is importance, and there is a joy that can come from buying stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But almost all of us could benefit from buying less. Almost all of us could. What if we were intentional about what we bought and what we didn't buy? Because here's what I've learned in my life. The less you buy, the less you need. The less you need, the more you can give. And the more you can give, the more peace you have in your life. And the opposite's true. The more you buy, the more you need. It's never enough, constantly more and more. And the more you need, the less you can give. And the less you can give, the less peace you will have. So if that's true, which it is, we should be buying less. Here's what Psalms 119 says, turn my heart towards your statutes and not towards selfish gain. Turn my eyes away from worthless things. Preserve my life according to your word. Right now, I want everyone, whether at home or sitting here, to think about your favorite childhood memory. Think about it. Maybe your top 2 or 3 favorite childhood memories. Go ahead and think about it. As you at home, think. Got it? Everyone got it? Most likely what you just thought about had nothing to do with stuff, did it? Listen, I got a lot of great stuff. My Christmases were awesome as a kid, and they're still awesome. I remember getting N64 and Xbox in the same Christmas. I remember that. It was awesome stuff. I remember getting a dog for Christmas. It was awesome until I met the dog, and the dog sucked. But at the time, it was awesome. Ask my dad about that dog. I remember that. That's great. But when I really think about my childhood, I don't think about my N64 as much. I think about my memories. I think about my dad coaching every single Little League game they had. I think about my mom going to every game, every concert, every show my band, my hardcore band that was terrible put on, and she hated the music. She still came to every single one. I remember those. I remember the performances. I remember having game nights with my family. I remember going to the movies the night before Thanksgiving every single year. I remember one year we went and saw Toy Story, and there was a guy who was drunk next to my mom and our family, and he said something he shouldn't have said to my mom, so my mom moved down, and my dad came in and said, "What happened?" He said, "This guy said this certain thing to me." And my dad, like the man he is, got up, got someone, came up to that guy and said, "This jerk right here," and kicked him out of Toy Story because of what he said. I remember that and be like, man, my dad is a man. That is bravery. I remember that. That was awesome. Ask him about it. That was an awesome time. Those are the things I remember. I remember great vacations. Yeah, my stuff was awesome. My childhood was not built around my stuff. It was built around my experiences. And your kids, the same thing will be true. They want stuff. Of course they do. We all want stuff. But their childhood will not be built around that stuff. It will be built around experiences. Experiences are always greater than things. So get your kids some stuff for Christmas. But what experiences are you making with them? Because that's what they're going to remember. Have more of what does matter and less of what doesn't. Better is one handful with tranquility than two handfuls of toil and chasing after the wind. Number 2, buy less. And number 3, last one, give more. We're going to throw out, we're going to buy less, and because we're buying less, we're going to be able to give more. We should all be giving more. No one wants to be known as greedy. Nobody does. I know I don't. But you know what the solution of greed is? It's generosity. Generosity is the solution. What is generosity? It is giving. Being willing to give more and more to help meet a need, to bless a family, and to give to a cause that you care about. We should all be giving more. 1 Timothy chapter 6, Paul says it this way. He says, "Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment." Now we read that and we think, yeah, but that's for, like they said, those who are rich. So I'm clear. I am not rich. I know a lot of people that are rich. I am not one of those rich people. And the only reason you think you are not rich is because you're comparing yourself to rich people in our culture. If you were to compare yourself to the world, you are rich. Let me prove it to you. There's a website called How Rich Am I? You can go to that. You can Google it, How Rich Am I? And in this website, you can type your household income that you make after taxes. You can put how many adults are in your family, how many kids are in your family, and it will tell you, according to the world population, how much money everybody makes, what percentage you are when it comes to your wealth. So let me give you some numbers here that I typed in. If you make $50,000 a year, household income after your taxes, your entire house, you make $50,000. You have 2 adults, you have 2 kids in your house. $50,000, okay? You are in the top 10.6% of the richest people in the world. Let's say you give 10% of the $50,000 that you have away, what we call a tithe. Let's say you do that. You're in the top 12.1% now. Let's do another number. You make $75,000 household income. You have 2 adults, 2 kids in your house. $75,000 your entire house makes. You would be in the top 5.5% richest people in the entire world. Give 10% of that away, you're in the top 6.6%. Do you want me to keep going? So I'm going to keep going. $100,000. You make $100,000 in your household, your entire house, $100,000, 2 adults, 2 kids. You're in the top 3.1%. Give 10% of that away, top 3.8%. Do one more. You make $200,000 in your house a year. $200,000, you have 2 adults, 2 kids. You're in the top 1%, the entire world. Give 10% of that away, you're in the top 1% in the entire world. We think we're not rich because we compare ourselves to the world, but let me tell you something. If you drove a car here, you're rich. If you have the ability to eat 3 meals a day, you are rich. If you can order a pizza from your phone, you're rich. We are rich. So what does Paul say to the rich in verse 18? Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. In this way, they will lay up treasures for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life. Have more of what does matter, less of what doesn't. Better is one handful, tranquility, than two handfuls, toil, chasing after the wind. I don't get emotional when I think about my receiving stories. I don't get that emotional. There's some great things I've gotten. There's some things that do get me emotional, things that people gave me, ways that people helped me out. I have some of those. But I have story after story after story that I can tell you that of memories that I have of me giving things away and me getting emotional about it today. I got some great stuff. Doesn't make me emotional. But some of the things I've given in my life make me emotional. When I think about it, I was talking to my wife about it this week. I remember the first tithe check I ever wrote. It was $100. And I remember I was in high school. I was working at Sbarro's at Arundel Mills Mall. Made not that much money. I was at 2 weeks. $100 was my tithe, 10%. I remember writing that and being like, this is like an insane amount of money. I wrote a check, which some of you don't know what that is, but you'd write it down. I remember writing that check. I remember going to church and putting that in. I still remember to this day the first time I ever gave. $100 check. I remember being a youth pastor. I remember we had students that were in homes that were really struggling. We had some students that found out that they were pregnant 7, 8 months into their pregnancy, found out for the first time, had absolutely nothing. We had just had our first daughter, so remember we got as much stuff as we could together. We got some of the other leaders together. We bought diapers. We bought as much stuff because they couldn't afford this kid. They didn't even know they were having one. This student, 16-year-old kid, we remember getting all this stuff and giving it to them. We are still emotional about it today. I remember the first time I served with Be More Caring, which is the organization that helps the homeless community. I remember the first time I did it. It was a big group of us that went down there. I was like, man, this is crazy. We're giving not only their needs, food and clothes and that, but we're also like treating them with integrity and like learning their names and having a personal relationship with them. And then I remember giving clothes. I remember the first time I saw somebody grab a clothing item that was mine. They didn't know it was mine. I remember it still to this day. I remember that. I remember going all in for impact. Months went by that we didn't get a single paycheck because we were all in. We're like, this is what God's calling us to do, so we're going to sacrifice in order to do it. Second we started getting paid, we started tithing way over 10% because we needed it. We didn't have any money. So we're like, we're going to start giving as much as we can back to this because we need this to start. And I remember that first day, that launch day Sunday, which was 2 years ago over in Marriottsville. There was a ton of people there. I remember being emotional thinking, man, because of my generosity, because of other people's generosity, we are here. I remember that to this day. I remember when COVID first started, and my wife and I were lucky and blessed enough to not lose a job and not to lose a paycheck. So I remember we found friends, we found people that needed help, and we gave to them without them knowing. They had a small business they started. We would do it and give them 5 times the amount that they asked for. Remember that. And I'm not telling you any of this to brag. That's not what I'm telling you to do. You're missing the point if you think that. We all have those stories of times that we were generous in giving. I'm telling you this to make a point. I don't have any emotional receiving stories. But I have story after story after story that I can tell you of times that I gave and it still impacts me today. Of times that I've gave and it still has made an impact for me. So the question I have for you is, how are you using the time and resources that you have here on this earth? Are you accumulating everything you can here on this earth so you can have more and more and more, or are you investing in heaven what you cannot lose? How are you using your stuff? Have more of what does matter and less of what doesn't. Better is one handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. You know what you do when you have one handful of tranquility, of peace? You do a lot of other stuff. You can pick somebody up. You can high-five somebody. You can slap them on the butt if you want, if you're married to them, okay? You can do that. There's a lot of things you can do. You can give some of this to them. There's a lot of things you do. But when you're constantly going more and more and more, there's nothing for you to give. Because you're constantly needed. I need more and more and more. So here's what I wanted you to do. This week, I'm giving you some homework. Okay? This is Christmas week. I get it. I mean, Christmas is coming up, but everyone's shopping. Here's some homework I want you to do. And all this homework I did this week, okay? Because I'm not telling you something I'm not going to do. We're in this together. I want everyone to go home at some point this week. If you're home now, start doing it right now. Grab one bag or 2 bags or 3 bags, however many bags it is, and start putting stuff and giving it away. Go through your clothes. You don't need all those clothes. Give it away. We're actually partnering with an organization called One Warm Coat, where you can bring your coats here, okay? There's actually a bin right in the back right now. That next couple Sundays, all of Sundays in December, bring your coats that you're not using anymore, bring them here, and we will take care of them. You have other clothes you want to bring them here. We'll take them to Be More Caring. Find someone that needs them and give them away. Give more and more of it away. Get bags full of it. In fact, with your kids, you're about to buy your kids a bunch of Christmas presents. Get a big bag for Santa. That's what we do. A big Santa bag and say, hey, the only way Santa's going to give you toys is if you give some away. Let's go through all your toys, and let's put a bunch of toys in here, and we'll give it away to somebody else. Start putting that into them early because they don't understand what the need for stuff is going to do to them. They need to understand that they are rich just as they are. Start filling some things out. In fact, here's something that I heard that I've been trying to practice, and I think you should practice too. For every new clothing item you get in Christmas, you should give one away. You don't need all the ones you have. I have so many sweaters. I think I have like 70 T-shirts, and you're here, I wear 5 of them. There's only 5 I wear all the time. There's only so many. So you get a new shirt from Christmas, great, give one away. You get some new jeans, give some away. You have all you need right now. Figure out what you can give away, what you can throw out. That's your first homework assignment. When it comes to Christmas, for every new item, I told you that one, that's your second one. And then the last thing I'm going to tell you to do, and then the worship team's going to play a song. Tithe. Start tithing. If you consider Impact Church your church home, if this is your church home, you should be tithing. Some of you that are here, you're just here checking it out, or some of you here, I understand your financial situation is completely different. I get it. I'm not here to guilt anybody. I am telling you, if you are part of Impact Church, if you're an owner in Impact Church, and you do not give, you should be giving. Better is 1 handful with tranquility than 2 with toil and chasing after the wind. And here's why I want to encourage you to do that. Something that I do, something that staff does. Every leader, every board member, they can't be that unless they give. So we all do it. Here's why I want you to do that. Because you will get more from what you give than what you receive. When you do that, when you start making that investment of giving, of tithing, when you see people get baptized, when you see people sing songs and you see the people worshiping, the closing song I always go in the back and I just kind of watch how people are doing. When you see the kids upstairs, when you see the food pantry that we're doing, when you see that 111 kids we had for the Angel Tree are adopted 2 weeks ahead of schedule, when you see that and you give, that's on you. You help make that happen. You should take pride in that because of what you did and what you gave when you were willing to apply in your life 1 handful of tranquility rather than 2, toil, chasing. Because of that, you understood that you need to have more of what does matter and less of what doesn't. Start giving. Whatever that is. The number that the Bible always talks about is 10% or higher. I want to encourage you, whatever percentage you can give, start doing it. If it's only 1%, start at 1%. Do whatever you can because it's a way for you to free yourself. You don't want to be a person that is all about stuff. If lack of stuff is robbing you of your peace, start giving things away. Start living with a different margin in life because we are all rich. Start living in a different margin so that we can start giving. So this week, I want you to throw some things out. I want you to buy a little less stuff. And I want you to give. That's what I encourage you to do. So I'm going to ask the worship team to come on up. I'm going to pray. And then we're going to sing our theme song for this series called Peace. And it talks about what the angels told us, that the Messiah being here is the person who brings us peace. So let me pray for you. Dear God, I thank you for being a generous God to us, a God that wants us to enjoy life, that provides for us, that is there for us. And dear God, I pray that you help us this week to very intentionally and very practically live out the generosity that you have shown us. To live it out practically during a season where we are told that we need more and more stuff, I pray that you help us to find ways to need less so we can give more, to have more of what matters, faith in you, peace in you, and less of what doesn't. God, I pray that you help us to figure out ways that we can throw some things out, buy less stuff, and give more because we know that we are honoring you when we give. That the best way that we can honor you is to not let stuff have a place in our heart that it doesn't need. To live a life, one handful with tranquility, and two handfuls with toil, chasing after the wind. Help us to start applying that today. In your son's name, amen. And I want to encourage you to stand if you're with us, or just follow along this song if you're singing from home. Stand with us.